So we will be continuing the discussion of the relationship between classes. By now, you should be familiar with this different type of associations. It could be simple association or aggregation or composition. And then we started looking into programmatically how we do this in practice. How do we establish association between classes? And we started doing this last time, and just to recall the class diagram that we have implemented so far. If you recall, we have an account. We had an account class, and we had a customer class. And if you remember, we had also added an address class. Okay, so definitely there is an association between account and customer. An account can have one customer, and a customer can have one account. And we implemented it in a bi-directional way. So we implemented this way, okay, which reads belongs to, basically an account belongs to a customer. And we also implemented it this way, where the customer has. But for the address, so basically a customer has one address. An address could be used by multiple customers, maybe some people living in the same address. But we only implemented this side of the relationship, if you remember. We didn't implement the other side. We don't care about it. If we have an address, we don't care who's staying there. But we only care if we have a customer, we want to know their address. So we implemented one direction. Now, whether to implement a bi-directional relationship or implement it only in one direction, it's up to us. If it is worth doing, it will add value to the problem we're trying to solve, yes, we will do it. Otherwise, we will not do it. But in here, for example, it is worth, if I have a customer at my hand, it will be nice to know the account they have. And if I happen to have an account at my hand, it's nice to know the customer to whom it belongs. And the same thing, if I have a customer, I want to know their address. But if I have an address, most likely I don't care too much who is there. For example, in this application we try to build. So up to now, you should be familiar with this. You should know conceptually and practically how to do this. Okay. So the next step we want to focus in this session is we want to make this relationship more realistic. In reality, it's usually not a one-to-one relationship. Usually a customer can have multiple accounts. Usually this is expressed as a star or one ... n. They can have 1 to n accounts. So far in the implementation we had, in the customer, we implemented a one-to-one. If you recall, in the implementation here, we implemented a one-to-one relationship. So customer has an account attribute of type account, and vice versa. If you recall, the account has a customer attribute. And this is how we establish the bi-directional association. Now, what I want to do now, I want to make it a one-to-many. This is a one-to-many, which means the customer can have multiple accounts. So far, if I look at customer, they can only have one account. Can I store multiple objects in the account's attribute?
No.
I cannot store multiple objects. I can only store one object. Okay? But the model or the class diagram or the design I came up with, it tells me that the relationship is one-to-many, not one-to-one. This only handles one-to-one. So how can I enhance or upgrade or change this implementation to handle one-to-many? Yeah, so let us start with what we already know. We know the concept of an array. What is an array?
List amongst the array can hold multiple elements.
Thank you very much. So it's a data structure that can handle that can hold or store multiple elements of the same type. Very important to add this sentence. The elements of the array are all the same type. Okay, sequence of elements of the same type. So how do I create an array in Java? What is the syntax?
List.
No, list. Forget about list. A list is something different. Yes, a list. I will explain a list and the advantage of a list. Let us first do it using arrays, and then we will do another version using lists, and we will understand why lists are superior and have better way of doing it. But let's do it for arrays. Now, to declare an array in JavaScript, in Java, you come to the data type and you put the square brackets. That's one syntax. The other syntax, you can come to the variable and put the square brackets. It's up to you. Okay? But for me, I prefer, it's up to you. It's yours, basically your own taste. For me, I like it this way. Okay, I put the data type, square brackets, and then the variable name. Yes? Okay. Now, because this is a one-to-many relationship, do you think this name is still appropriate?
No.
Account. So I make it plural just to reflect the fact that this is a one-to-many. So I'll change this name to S. Yeah? Now, what I did here, I just declared a variable of type array. I have not yet created the actual array. So if I want to create an array, how do I do so?
You go to the account class.
So basically in the constructor, here is the accounts variable. Maybe one place I can do this in a meaningful way, maybe in the constructor here, I can go ahead and create the array, create the actual array. How do I create the array? Yes, I need the size. I need the length or the size of the array. So definitely I need the size. So I don't want to hard code the size. I want to put it in one variable here. I will call it private int, and I call it account size, or let's keep it simple. I just call it size for now. And let's start, let's say 3. For example, this is the maximum number of accounts a customer can have. Okay? And I come here and put here final. Final means this is not changeable, it's a constant. And you notice here, I put the variable name as capital because this is constant. This is the convention. Constant variables are capitalized. The whole name is capital. Once I see it, I know this is a constant. That's why the convention is to do it that way. Okay, now, so if I want to create an array, I'll go ahead and say new account because this is an array of accounts. And then in between square brackets, what I will put here? The size. That's it. Basically, this is how I create the array. The declaration up there, this is just declaring the array. I have not created the array yet. And in this second line here, in the constructor, I am actually creating the array. Okay? So what this will really do, this line here, this line that you see here, if I go here, basically it will allocate some memory allocation for the array, and it will have how many elements? 3 elements. And these elements are indexed. You can access them through the index. And the index goes from 0 to size minus 1. 0 to size minus 1. So 0, 1, 2. Yeah? And then, because I have not created the objects yet, I just declared the array. I have not created the elements yet. So what will be the values of such elements of the array? Null. Very good. Thank you very much. So this will be auto-initialized with this special value null, indicating what? What this null value indicates?
We didn't state a value yet.
Yes, we didn't create the objects yet. We didn't instantiate the object and place the objects there yet. The array is there, the elements are created, the elements of the array created, but there is a null there. They are still pointing to nothing. The objects themselves have not been created. Very good.
Until creating the object, right?
Sorry?
It is not until creating.
Yes, until we create an object and place it in the element, it will remain null. Yes, so far clear? Okay, now if we go here and go to, this is basically now I established a one-to-many relationship between the customer and the accounts. The customer now can have multiple accounts. Now in here we have this set account. In here it doesn't make sense. I have a new account and I want to really, instead of using the set, I think it's better to use some other verb. What do you think? Add. Add will be a better verb for this context. So what this method is supposed to do?
Add an account to the array.
Yes, take the account from the caller as a parameter, and then do we just close our eyes and put it in the array, or we have another challenge to
We
solve?
need to check if the array is full already because we have.
Yes, we need to find some empty place in the array where to place it. Okay? Because the customer might already have another account before. We don't want to just put the element in some other, put the account in an element that already holds another account, and then it will override that element and we lose information. So we need to look for an empty slot or an empty element, and then we store that array in there. That's what we will be doing.
The array was full, it will overwrite one of the.
No, if the array is full, it should say so. It should throw an exception or throw an error. We will see this. Sorry?
Won't overwrite any data.
We shouldn't, in our programming, we should be careful not to do that. Yeah, we should, if the array is full, this is one of the limitations of the array. Two limitations in the array. What are these?
We have a strict size.
Now you have to define the size. When you create the array, you must know the size. Either you ask the user to give you the size, or you as developer, you put some size. You must have a size. Now, if you have more element than the size that you had in mind, that you used to create the array, can you extend the array at a runtime? You cannot extend the array. The array is static and fixed. Once you declare it, you cannot extend it and you cannot shrink it.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the problem with arrays. Anyway, now let us implement this. So what is the goal of this method, add account?
And then to add an account to the array.
Yes, basically what we want to do here, this is my array. I need to visit those elements and say, are you empty? Can I store my account in there? If yes, I'll go ahead and store it. Otherwise, I will throw an error to the requester saying the array is full. I cannot add this account. Yeah. So basically, my goal here, I need to find an index, an index of the empty array, of the empty element.
Yeah.
And then I'll take, once I know the index, I can store the account in the index, in that empty element. Okay, so how do I find an empty slot? What do you think? What's the algorithm?
We can have a for loop
So we'll do a for loop.
to check with every index.
Yeah. To check
If
every
it's
element.
A null, every element.
Yeah.
If it's not a null, that means it's full. So
Yeah.
it will check the next. We can have increase the index, and then we can check the next
Okay.
element, and then when we find a null,
Yeah.
we'll store it there.
Okay, very good. Yes. Excellent. Yes, that's what we will do. So let's do this. So there is a loop. We will loop through and find an empty spot, an empty element. Okay, so I will declare here an index variable. I initialize it with 0 because that's the elements I will be starting to look for. That's the start. So I start iterating through the array, and then I'll do a for loop. So for index equals 0, semicolon. What is the semicolon? Interesting. It's amazing. no coffee, and then everything starts. All right, so I keep doing this until when?
Account index. Less than oh yeah.
Less than
Three.
3. Do I put 3 here? Size. Remember, that's the advantage of declaring it once up there. So I don't, if I change my mind and I change it to 5 or 10, I change it to one place.
Yeah.
So this is very important to declare this size once and then reuse it. So as long as the index is less than the size, I keep looping, and of course, don't forget to increment your counter. Otherwise, you'll end up with infinite loop. Okay, that's it. Okay, inside here, all I will do here check. Check what? So basically, if accounts index, which basically go to this element 0, 1, 2, 3, and check if it is null. What do you think I should do? No, not yet. Of course, I can do that, but better here just break. Is a nice way of doing it. Go through the array. Once you find an empty slot, exit the array, exit the loop. Once you exit the loop, what should you do?
We can add the
You basically go to your accounts here, use the index that is coming out of the loop, the value of the index after you come out of the loop, and go there and basically store the account in there. Okay? Is this good?
Yes.
No?
Yeah, I think something missing.
There is something missing. Yes,
What
thank
if
you.
the array was full?
Yes, thank you very much. What if the array is full? How do I find that the array is full?
If we exited the loop? No.
Yes. So basically, if index is less than size, if the index is less than size, then go ahead and do this. Else, we'll throw an error. Now we don't know how to throw an error. For now, we just display it. But later on, maybe hopefully next week, we will learn how we can throw an error to the caller saying you are doing something wrong, or we cannot handle what you're asking us to handle. I will explain this again. Just give me 1 second. Let me finish this. Print line, and then I will say here max yes, max accounts you can add is something like this. Yeah. So I'm just displaying an error like this. So let me do it. Let me explain it another way. So basically, I will be going through a loop, visiting every element. Okay. Once I find an element that is null, which means it is nothing in there, it's empty. Do I still need to visit other elements? No need. I just exit the loop. Yes, exit the loop. For example, if I exit here at this point, what will be the value of index? 0. So all I do, go to the account variable, which is the array, to index 0 and store the account. Now, if this one, let's say this one is full, there is some account there. Of course, this will be false, and I jump to here. And what will be the index here? 1. This is null, so I break, which means exit the loop, and then I go to element 1 and store my account. Yeah. Let's imagine this one is full. There is some account there. Go to 2. If 2 is null, means it's empty. I exit the loop, and what will be the value of index? 2. Yes, no problem. Now imagine there is something here. I will continue the loop. Remember, because I am continuing until the index becomes equal the size or greater than the size. Of course, when I loop, the index will become 3.
Yeah.
Well, the index will become 3, and then of course I will exit the loop. That's because of the break, because the condition of the loop is now false. And what's the value of the index?
3.
3. If the value of the index is 3, which means I am here, can I store something beyond the array size? No. So how do I detect that I am in this scenario? I am in here. How do I detect this scenario that I went through the whole array and there is no empty space? How? Yeah, by checking the index. If the index equal the size, or it is greater or equal the if the index is greater or equal the size, then that's it. I already visited every element and they are all full. Then all I do, I throw an exception. Of course, now I explain a message. Next week we will learn how to throw an exception. Is this algorithm clear? Okay, that's it. This is the add. Now for get. So here, of course, I can get all accounts, but it will be more interesting if you give me the account ID. I look for that account ID and then return that particular account. Yeah. So what do you think here? We will ask for an account ID. And then how do we find the account with that particular account ID? We have an array of accounts. We want to find one of them.
We'll check the get ID from
We will
every
loop again.
account.
Yes. Yes. So we will loop through. Now I will loop through the accounts. But now I will use a more elegant version of the for loop, more suitable for this scenario. I will visit every account in accounts. This is how I do it. Instead of using this counter controlled loop, I use this other version of the loop. And then I'll ask if the account dot get ID equal the account ID I'm looking for, then what should I do here? If this condition is true, return the account. Yeah. Otherwise, if I went through the whole loop and I didn't find what I want, what I will return? What do you think? We don't know how to throw an error yet. No, this method can only return an account. I didn't find it. What do you think I should return? I cannot return anything other than an object of type account. Remember here. Remember, this is a method signature. A method signature is a promise. If you call me and say get account and give you the account ID, what I'm expecting you to give me back? An account. That's it. I'm not going to accept anything else. But I didn't find it. Yes, thank you very much. That's it. I didn't find it, so I will pass you on now.
Professor, here, when you say return account, it will return an object?
Yes, the whole object, yes. This is the most elegant way of doing it. There's one more if you want to really scare everybody. You just don't put account, put var.
Which means
Okay. No. Yes, the system, the Java compiler will basically work out implicitly the type from the values. Because I'm looking through an array of accounts, of course, every element is what is the data type is account. So it's up to me whether I will be explicit and say, oh, by the way, you are manipulating a list of accounts, or let Java work it out.
When you return account, what will be displayed to the user?
No, very good question. By the way, when you are dealing with the implementation of methods, don't think about display. Don't think this way. Think about a method. It does some work and returns something. Okay. What the caller will do with it is up to them. Whether they want to display it, save it to a file, throw it away, they will not even look at it. It's up to them. So in terms of thinking, don't think about display or anything. Okay, think about a method accepting some input, doing some processing, some computation, and returning something. It could be a simple value or in this case an object. The caller, it's up to them what they want to do with that object that they receive. Okay, so is the logic here clear? Yeah, this is the simplest possible way to achieve this. I'm looping through every element of the array and say, are you the lucky one? The lucky one I'm looking for? If yes, I return you, and that's it. Exit the whole thing. Khalas. If I go through the whole array and I didn't exit inside the loop, I didn't return inside the loop, what does that mean? What I'm looking for is not there. So what I will say to the caller? No, return a no. Yes. Later on, there's a better way. Instead of returning null, I will throw an exception, saying element not found or account not found. Yeah, yes, please.
But you want this confuse the user between like there is no such an account and there is an empty slot in the array? Because if there is an empty slot, it will be none.
No, basically the way it will work in here. See what's happened here. If it is empty, I see what you mean. If it is empty, then it will not match. Even if this will be false.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it will exit the loop.
It will exit. Yes. It will go through the whole loop and yes, and return null. Yeah. Is clear so far? Yes. Okay. That's it. This is for what we did here. We converted the association from a one-to-one to a one-to-many, and we implemented it using an array. And then instead of setting the account, we are adding the account to the array, and we saw how we do that with arrays. And then for get, you need extra parameter to return one particular account where the account ID is matching the parameter that is received. That's it. Now the customer class is happy. Of course, the testing is not happy. The main is not happy. So we will change this one to be, instead of set account, it will be add account. And not only I can add one, I can add multiple. Yes, I can add two accounts because Sarah has two accounts. One is 123, which is saving account, and 234 is a current account. The first one has 5,000 and the other one has 400. Yeah. Now in here it says Sarah.get accounts. Now this one is complaining. Why is it complaining? Because we have a get account, but it expects a parameter. For now, I'll ask it to give me 123. I ask it to give me the balance for account 123, and what I expect to see, this one, this 5,000. Yes? Ready to test?
Yes.
Save. There's no black star, red stuff. Everything is happy. Now I have to test it. Okay. Go ahead and test this. As you can see here, I am able to create the object, and I'm displaying these names, first name and last name from the object, and this line is also working as expected. I am getting welcome Sarah, and your account is balance is 5,000. Okay, but in this case, I am saying here your account's balance is. It will be nice to just give the total of all the accounts. Yes, because now I am just giving the balance of one account. So what I will do now, I'll just go ahead and create another. Let me go ahead here and create another function to return the total balance for all the accounts. Yes. So what do you think we will call this method? What do you think the name should be? Yes, that's very good. Yes, get total balance. Does it take any parameters? No, because we are getting the total of all the account balances. And how we will implement this?
We run through the array.
Look through the array.
Get the balance from each account there.
Yes, and add it. Accumulate the balance. So let me declare a variable to accumulate the balances. I initialize it with 0. And then I do a for loop. Here is a var account, loop through all the accounts, and then go through here and say the total balance plus equal account.getBalance. So I get the total balance. What I do with it, I return it.
What does var account does? The loop?
This is looping through every account in the account array.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a nice kind of elegant loop specialized for iterating through an array without using a counter. So there are two styles of loop you can iterate or loop through an array, either using a counter-controlled loop with a counter, but this is more elegant. You don't need any counter. You just go through, you say every element of the array, go through it, get the balance, and add it to the total balance. When you exit the loop, what you should do with this total balance, return it to the caller, and that's it. So now let us go to the application here, and instead of get account, get balance, what we will use? Yes, we will use get total balance. Yeah, ready? Is okay? Everything is good? All right, so now we'll just save and run. And it crashed. It doesn't work. What's the problem? Say here, thread main null pointer. And in this line, it's complaining that this line is not working. There's a null pointer here.
Because there's an external in the array.
Very good. So remember so far, how many accounts did we add?
Only 2.
2. So this one is full, this one is full, this one has a null. Okay, so null, there is nothing is there.
Yeah.
Basically, the object is not yet created. And what this method is trying to do,
And the get balance.
it's saying null that gets balanced. You are asking something that does not exist to do something for you. Of course, the logical consequence is that the compiler will be unhappy. You are asking it to do, or the system will be unhappy because you are asking it to do something nonsense. You are asking something that does not exist to do something for you. Yeah? So you get this null pointer exception. Very common, especially for beginners. You always encounter this one. Whenever you see this, what does that mean? Some of your variable is still not initialized with an object, and you're trying to access the methods. You will get this exception. Yeah? Okay, so how to fix it? How to fix this one?
It is not.
As an if statement. So I will say if account is not null, then I do this. So this is conditional to this. Now if I run this again, should be fine. Everything is working as before. And the total balance is 5,400 because we created 2 accounts. One is 5,000 and one is 4,400. Is clear? Okay. Now, what I can also do, let's try to create a 3rd and 4th account. Let's just give it a try. So this is account 3. This is 345. This is current, or this is check. Anyway, yes. Okay, and then I'll create a 4th one, which is 547, okay, and then this is for travel. Okay, for travel, you need to be generous. Okay, and then what I'll do here, I'll add all these accounts to this. So here is 3 and here is 4. Yes? Okay, and then I will hopefully try to run this. So here, you see here, this is the max account you can add is 3. Why are we getting this error? Because the size is 3. And we were good programmers and we did some check. And we are showing this. And you can see here, what is the total balance?
10,000.
10,000. Did it take into account the generous account? No. We have a problem. Yeah. While the program is running, we cannot handle this. We cannot handle it. We have to stop the program. We have to go back to the programmer and ask them, please, we have this problem. We have this rich lady. She created 4 accounts. Your system only supports 3. We have a problem. And then how we will solve it? We have to go and change the program and then ship that program, put it in the user computer. It's a big story. Yeah? But luckily, in Java, there is a better data structure that is dynamic. You can expand it and shrink it as you wish. You don't need to specify the size, and it can grow and shrink at runtime, depending on your needs. Okay, and what is this data structure? Is a list. So instead of using an array, all you do, you come to your variable, in this case accounts, and in the data type you put this list, and you tell Java what list you want to create. Do you want to create a list of integers, or list of accounts, or list of students, or list of doubles? What type of list you want to create? So you tell here explicitly, you're saying, oh, by the way, I want to create a list of accounts, and by the way, that list is of type account. So between this angle brackets, you put the data type. So you put list, angle brackets, and you put the data type. Yeah, that's it. Now in the constructor, you go ahead and initialize the list. How do I initialize the list? I don't need the size, by the way. That's it. I don't need the size. The way I initialize the list, I'll say new array list. I don't even need to specify the type twice. Specify it once is enough. I already told Java that I want a list of accounts. I don't need to tell it again. Okay?
If we have multiple lists, do we have to of different types?
No, remember, a list is similar to array. By definition, is a sequence of values of the same type. So all of them.
Because we said that accounts is a list of type account, so we don't have to just state it.
Yeah, we don't need to state it again. If you want to state it, is fine. But in programming or in life in general, you do the minimum that works. Okay, you don't do anything extra. Okay, that is one of the principles. You do the minimal that it will work. So this is the minimal. If it works like this is better than adding extra stuff that doesn't add any value. Okay? That's it. So this is how I initialize the list, by creating a new array list. But the good news here, I don't need the size anymore. Yeah, I don't need the size. So what I can do with this size, I just completely remove it. I don't need it whatsoever. Khalas. Now I can just add elements to this list as many as I wish, and later on we will see we can even remove elements from the list. No problem. Okay. Now in here you see this add. I don't even need to do all this so much stuff, a big algorithm to add some element and find empty slot and all this stuff. All I do, I come to my array list or my list, and I'll say add, and I put the object I want to add. That's it. That's all it is. Go to my list and say add, and add the object that is coming as a parameter. Now for get is the same, because a list is also an array. It's kind of, you can look through it. So there is no change here. And also there is no change in this one, because you can look through it same as you look through an array. So nothing will change, except instead of declaring it as an array, I'm declaring it as a list. When I create the actual list, I create it using a new array list. I don't need to specify the type again. I already specified it in the declaration. And then when I want to add, all I need to do is add add this one. Yes? Is clear? Okay. Now, let me see. Any change here? Zero change here. Everything is working fine. Yeah. Okay, let's just try it now. No problem. We get what we want. We are able to store 4 accounts, even 5, 10. It doesn't matter. It's extendable and shrinkable. Okay. Now let us try one last thing. Now the Sarah went and spent all this. Okay, came back empty-handed, just with lots of presents. And then because she spent all her money, she said, "Khalas, I need to close this account." Khalas. So how do we close this account? So we will remove it from the account. So she goes to the bank and they will remove it for her. And we want to do something like this. We want to go here, for example, and then basically, sorry, let me just come here because this is before the travel. So I will do here, instead of add account, I will have remove account. But of course, I have to go ahead and implement this. Create a method remove. Here is the method remove. And all I need to do is accounts dot remove. I can either remove by index. Remember, the array list also is indexed. It's like an array. Sorry, the list is, even the name of when I create it is an array list. So it is indexed. So you can remove elements by index if you know the index, or you can remove an object. If you have an object, you can remove it from the list. Because I have already an object, I can just remove it from the list. Here is remove. I will not call it Sarah account. I will just call it account in general. And then all I do, I go ahead and remove it. Remove it altogether. Okay. So once I remove it, I can go back here. This is before the travel, and this is after. Okay. All right. So just to see the difference. Okay. So I run it. This is the idea. You see here, this is before the travel 50,000, and after is 10,000. So I'm able to remove that. And by the way, the size will be different. So for example, if I go here, this is the last one I want to show you. If I go here and say public, something like int accounts count, how many accounts the user has. And all I do here, return accounts dot size. Yep. Return account dot size. This will give me how many accounts the user have. And in here I'll say your accounts balance. Your accounts. Okay. Let me just put it here. To go. Here it is. Plus here and plus here. And all I do here, I'll say Sarah customer dot get. I'm supposed to call it get. This is not very good. So let me just refactor this. Always put the verb. In the methods, always put the verb. It's very, very critical in terms of naming convention. So in here, I will say get account counts. All right. So that's it. Here is the app. So I'm supposed to see. Let me just copy this. Copy it here. Yep. Okay, so let me run now. Yeah, you see here I have 4, and here I have 3. So you saw here the list cell. scroll and shrink as you wish.